Y'all beautiful people ready for part two? Take it away, Anna. Once again, this is from the story in Dalton, Illinois, close to Chicago, where a mayor is under investigation. City in debt for $7 million.
And there are a lot, which is why I'm happy that the FBI is now looking into this. But there are two things that I want to do or have a closer look at, okay? The first thing is this allegation that business owners are being retaliated against when they're not donating to her campaign or when they're not supportive of her leadership. So let's take a look at this gentleman who is a small business owner in the town. His name is Lawrence Gardner. He owns a U-Haul rental and trucking business in South suburban Dalton. And he says he went to the FBI several months ago, frustrated that the village of Dalton would not renew his business license. Gardner says he's been harassed and his business raided and shut down by Dalton police. Gardner believes it's retaliation after he refused to make a donation to a civic event sponsored by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. And look, if it was just one small business owner making this allegation, I'd say you should investigate it, but it's one guy. I mean, who knows if it's true? But multiple small business owners from the town have come forward with similar allegations. And remember, having tax revenue coming from the small businesses that currently exist in Dalton is incredibly important, especially when the town is now $7 million in debt allegedly because of Henyard's spending and recklessness with taxpayer funds. Gardner reported Henyard to the FBI and told a local Fox affiliate the following, quote, "I talked to a couple of agents and I explained to them what's going on. I gave them all of my paperwork to show them what was happening in court and what was happening in Dalton. And they told me they were investigating and would be in touch with me." So that was the first indication that the FBI was in fact investigating Henyard. The local news also spoke to other business owners, including one restaurant owner, who says that his business license wasn't renewed after he refused to make another campaign donation to Henyard. He had previously donated $3,200 to Henyard's campaign, but he didn't want to renew his contribution, and he claims that he was retaliated against as a result of that. And then a trustee by the name of Kiana Belcher alleges that former police chief Robert Collins basically admitted to being directed by the mayor to target certain individuals. That is what she's claiming. That is something the FBI, I'm hoping, is going to look into as well. So now let's get into the details about Henyard using cops as her security detail 24/7. Which is insane because she is a mayor of a small town. Why would she need security 24/7? An open records request shows that officers assigned to Henyard have racked up hundreds of hours in overtime, obviously costing the town quite a bit of money. This is costing the town hundreds of thousands of dollars, actually, and the police get paid every 2 weeks, like most people do, with 80 hours counting as their regular full-time hours. But some of the cops, like Terry Young, have billed as much as 303 hours in a single 2-week pay period. Okay, let that sink in for a second. He billed 303 hours when in 2 weeks there's a total of 336 hours. There's more. That resulted in a single paycheck of more than $13,000. They also ran errands for her. They accompanied her on trips out of town. And even though supervisors appropriated money to ensure that lenders were getting paid for the police cruisers that the town had acquired, Henyard didn't make the payment. And as a result, those vehicles are now going to be repossessed. This is crazy. Now, because of all of this alleged misuse of taxpayer funds, Board of Trustee Jason House reacted favorably to the FBI's investigation, saying that the Board of Trustees and I have repeatedly questioned the mayor's office on her use of public funds. We welcome any investigation that will bring transparency on how taxpayer dollars are being spent. Our residents deserve this level of financial transparency. And honestly, it seems as though the entirety of the Board of Trustees have been pushing back on her spending. Now, Dalton Board of Trustees members are not happy with her, and so in a recent meeting, they went after her. So we'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's start with Brittany Norwood, who's one of the members of the Board of Trustees.
When we first started office, we were financially sound. But over just the last 2, and I want to say maybe 1.5 years, we've went from financially sound to a $7 million deficit. And that deficit continues to grow. What she does is she says, well, hey, I'm using all this money to provide services. So she tricks the citizens into thinking, hey, all of this spending is just to provide you with services. And the trustees, they want to cut the spending because they don't want you to have these services. When the truth is, she's overspending and she's doing so much frivolous spending that it's catching up with us. And at some point, it'll eventually come to an end, and we don't know where that may lead us.
This is so deeply unfair to the residents of Dalton. So unbelievably unfair. You think that they couldn't use that money for a better community, whether it be funding their schools, maybe giving them a tax break, a little bit of a tax break, considering how high their property taxes are, considering the fact that 15% of the population living there are currently living in poverty, maybe some social programs to help them out. And earlier this month, the board called for, her to explain some of this spending. They called her spending into question. And Henyard, she was not pleased. And so she went on a very lengthy rant. I have a snippet of that rant for you. Let's take a look.
And y'all should be ashamed of y'allself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. All the stuff that y'all did to get people to come to our community, to just diss and down our community. Shame on y'all. Because when I want to attack and take any of y'all seats, I run. I run for the seat. I don't do smear campaigns. I don't do all this mess. It's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, we still gotta live in this village.
She kept mentioning how unfair it is that she's being targeted as a black woman. Just want to show you what the racial makeup of the Board of Trustees looks like. Let's take a look. Yeah. I don't think that the questions about her use of public funds has anything to do with race. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it seems like some shady stuff is going on. And it is certainly not fair to the residents of Dalton to have their resources taken from them only to be used on hair and makeup, on a Chevy Tahoe that costs the town $150,000, on a 24/7 security detail for a small town mayor that no one's ever heard of until now, I guess. It's just such awful behavior, and it's such awful abuse of public funds. And so I hope that justice will be served. I hope the FBI does a full investigation into this, because again, not fair to the people of Dalton at all.